Just said, just wait, there's somebody with a motorcycle helmet coming in. So Born to be Wild, like, own it. Good morning. And welcome. So I want to speak to some of the things and experiences that are both at the table, have been at the room, and you know what, somebody else is about to walk in, so we'll just let her. No, we don't, no. Just choose something. Yeah, that'll do. Hello. The first Sunday of every October was designated, beginning in the early 30s, that's 1930s, as Worldwide Communion Sunday. And so it was a Sunday when we acknowledged our communion with Christians around the world. And because, like Presbyterians anyway, only did this 4 times a year traditionally, this was one of the 4th. Okay. Seems to me that the world has evolved a great deal since that time. And I think that it is most important with our post-colonial Christian vision that we, in fact, acknowledge a much larger table that we are all invited to, much beyond those who are just Christian, but acknowledging that we are at the table of creation, and we are called to be at the table of creation. And our tradition invites us to practice hospitality, break bread with everyone, with the understanding that with each one, whether they're Christian or Jew or Gentile or Buddhist or Muslim or Hindu, that each person is a window to the blessed mystery. So let me just point out a few things that are on the table. So, as I said in the email, the grape juice that we will be sharing today was picked by Catherine and Robin and Michael and myself. I mean, the grapes were picked, the juice wasn't picked. And then we enjoyed an afternoon of sorting them, and then Catherine pressed them. And I did freeze it so that it wasn't 7% alcohol today. The bread that we will be sharing today is actually a loaf of challah. So this weekend, the local Jewish community hosted a festival of Jewish culture. Yesterday morning, they gathered here for shul, and shul is synagogue. So the rabbi wasn't with them this time, and I joined a group of lay people, most of whom had been shaped by Jewish school as children. And how crazy is this? There were 2 people who had never met before. They both grew up in TMR, that's in Montreal. They'd both gone to the same synagogue, and they both remember the same rabbi who hated children. It's a beautifully small world, right? And so I asked if we could have the leftover of the broken challah to share today. The cup is from 10,000 Villages and was made in Palestine. And this tablecloth is made with recycled saris from India, providing living wages to women who have been rescued from the streets. And I thought it appropriate here that this piece of art behind us, in 2017, when the mosque in Quebec City was bombed, we invited the entire community in, and we had a great big scrapbook from 10,000 Villages, and we invited the community in to express condolences to the folk of the mosque in Quebec City. And we sent it off in the mail, and we got the most beautiful letter back. But I took a picture of this in particular, because that kind of spoke to the heart and soul of everybody who came in to express condolences. So, recognizing that the world in which we live is profoundly complex, we are invited to be a parable, an alternative, people from different perspectives, et cetera, making room for many perspectives and peoples and nations at the same table. I'm very grateful that Janice Ruggles spent a lot of time organizing her slides. I thought, well, rather, if we're going to be talking about this vision of the nations that gather from north and south and east and west, Janice has been to all of those places, or lots of them. So I said, could you create 4 different slideshows? that we could just enjoy, recognizing as well that communion is bigger than the human race. It includes the planet itself, the rivers, the stones, the mountains, as also vehicles for communicating grace and mystery. So she came back to me and she said, all right, Lynn, I can do that kind of. But she said it needs to be north of 60, between 60 and Cancer, between Cancer and Capricorn, between Capricorn and 60 south. Why are you are you nodding, or it just looks like you're going, what is she talking about? You're nodding, okay. Okay. All right. All right. So I just wanted to kind of lay the land so that you could appreciate all the doors that we are providing for this sacred practice, for this communion today. Just wait. Anyone else coming in? All right. Welcome, beloved community. In a world restless with division and noise, we gather here for Sabbath, a sacred pause, a place to rest. Here we can breathe deeply, lay down the burdens we carry, and remember that we are not alone. This is a sanctuary where every tradition is welcome, every story, every searching heart. The land holds us, the Spirit renews us, and together we make space for peace. Come as you are, with weariness or with wonder. Here there is room for you. And here we begin again in hope. Members of the Jewish community who met here yesterday expressed gratitude that we were made welcome they were made welcome in this space. And I said, the vision comes from the Hebrew Bible, words from Isaiah 25, 6-9. Imagine. Then I told them what it said. And so it seems to me that this tradition at the heart, the best of this tradition at its heart, is that we are always being invited to the table, and we are always inviting others to the table. And so as a means of maybe starting this, setting the table for the larger experience, I have rewritten those 3 verses, Isaiah 25, 6-9, and it will kind of inform pretty well everything else that's unfolding in the service today. On this holy mountain, the Holy One spreads a feast for all peoples. Not just bread and wine, but the harvest of the earth, the sweetness of the rivers, the strength of the soil, the song of wind through the trees. Here, every nation is gathered, every tradition welcomed, every heart offered rest. The shroud of sorrow, the veil of separation, these are lifted. And death itself is swallowed up in love. Tears are wiped away, not only from our eyes, but from the face of the land, from the wounded earth, from all that longs to be whole again. And on that day, we will say, yes, this is the one in whom we put our trust. Yes, this is the one who gathers us at the table. Yes, this is the joy we have waited for. A banquet of justice, a communion of peace, a homecoming for all creation. The hymn is on the screen. So we'll move through these 5 banquets for the senses. The first and the last we will experience in silence, just to have some silence. And then the second and the third, Tom has created a soundtrack for. So let's do this. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So the next set of slides is from the Tropic of Cancer to 60, and it includes Guatemala. And pieces of art for an auction for the purpose of raising funds for Palestine. Jan submitted this mandala. It is called The Fruits of the Quran. It includes, and Jan will help me here, grapes, pomegranates, dates, and, okay. And on the auction, this piece of art was bought for $1,100. So I just thought that was such a wonderful story worth sharing. Yeah. And I hope, although I know some of you will experience dissonance with the next slide. So we are wanting to create a safe space for the community since, as a result of the decisions and actions of the Israeli government towards the Palestinian people, the people of North America and in our community in particular have not felt so safe because anti-Semitism is now wildly on the rise. So again, our hearts and tables are open to all those in our community. On Friday, Reaching for Rainbows will be hosting an event, a fundraiser for Reaching for Rainbows, but also a community builder. Jan, I know, will be participating in a mandala workshop, and her daughter, who is Muslim, will be sharing some desserts because she herself is a chef. So again, it's a festival of community engagement participation in support of the families and girls of Reaching for Rainbows. Next week, Tom and Conrad join us for our Thanksgiving service, and I went looking for the photo of us all eating together at the Waring House, which is what we had the practice of doing. And you know what I'm going to say? Before COVID. So every time Tom and Conrad came to town, we'd put the word out, and then we'd all take over the place on Friday night, and had lots of fun. So I'm going to suggest, although I couldn't find the photo, I certainly hope to be there on Friday night. Anyway, and if you want to join me, I'll try and save some tables. As well, next weekend, I've invited Robin and Catherine to contribute to the service. It seems to me that if we're really going to authentically celebrate the Harvest Thanksgiving, well, we should have people addressing that conversation who themselves are involved in harvest at this time. And our annual traditional Thanksgiving potluck will take place here at the Andrew this year. Sue Law is going to say a few things about that. Sue, if you'd like to take this, so that people hear. Okay. Let's see.
All right. There is a sign-up sheet at the back. If you're coming, will you please sign up? If you're able to bring something, look at the top and see what it is we need. But just at the moment, I did have a look, and a couple more desserts and some mashed potatoes would be good. And we need people who, if you're coming, if you're bringing somebody, will you please sign up now? Or if you can't and you're checking with people, would you let Lynn know, please, during the week? And then the people that are possibly coming late might be told something, you know, just some of the same that we already have. We need another one of this if we've got another, say, 10 people coming. I think